So revising the ILA is an opportunity for a sorely needed reset of the KCRHA to create accountability and achieve measurable results for our unsheltered neighbors. I think, as many of you know, I have been a vocal critic of KCRHA to date. I think many of us, no matter where we sort of land on the spectrum, have had our concerns about how well KCRHA has executed on its mission. But through this process of both hiring a new CEO and also working to create amendments to the ILA, we've had a very collaborative process with the mayor's office, and I'm very appreciative of that. Both Council President and I have been actively engaged in this work. And so I think that the product that we have here, I feel very positive about, and I look forward to Jen sharing more about the specifics of it and why I think it is a good step forward.
Under the amended and revised ILA, the number of oversight entities is reduced from 2, the Implementation Board and Governing Committee, to just 1, the Governing Board. Like the Governing Committee, the Governing Board will have 12 members. 9 of them will be the same elected officials that are currently serving on the Governing Committee, the Seattle Mayor, the King County Executive, 2 Seattle City Council members, 2 King County Council members, and 3 elected officials from the Sound Cities Association. The Seattle City Council and the King County Council have to approve the same ILA, right? Because it is the one being signed by the Seattle Mayor and the King County Executive. So amendments, depending on where City Council is in their process, if King County chooses to amend, that may mean that City Council may also have to consider amendments on their side in order for the 2 documents to match.
But if they're not making their decision until the 15th and it includes amendments and we've already voted on it next week, that means we would have to come back.
It could. And again, I list next week as sort of the date for soonest possible action.
Okay.
There's always it's choice to hold as well.
We would have
that's
to.
Exactly right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just note that this is our last committee meeting before budget, so we would be looking at December to come back if we had to come back to the committee. So, we did attend the Regional Policy Committee, and there were, that discussion was very positive. I just recall there were sort of 2 technical potential amendments proposed. I would point out, this is a critical point, that if it automatically renews, it renews in its current format.
That's exactly right.
And its current format is highly, highly problematic. And in fact, if it doesn't renew, I can just stay on the record here that I'm not sure I would continue funding. So from my perspective, so it is critically important that we get the ILA in its proposed format through over the finish line before the budget or before it automatically renews from my perspective.
In the current form, when it comes to things like budget, and as the legislative body, the body that's accountable to our constituents for the resources that we spend on their behalf for this entity and also for our own programs in-house, the budget was mostly worked out by the implementation board, where there are experts on homelessness who interact with the providers, et cetera, and produce a budget, a programmatic budget that the governing committee right now approves, but doesn't really have a lot of say in going, as it's being developed. And so that was something that was uncomfortable for me, because I so strongly believe that the people who are spending public dollars must be accountable to the public.
So we're in a bit of a time crunch here. Councilmember Wu needs to leave at 10:30, and I would really like to have a vote. So I want to just take the temperature of the committee. So looks like people are comfortable without that presentation taking to the vote. So I think, given the time, no disrespect meant, that we will proceed with. Okay.
5 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. The motion passes and the bill will be referred to full council for the September 17th meeting.